Hi, my name's Dee, your Professor of Woo Woo, and welcome to your special readings for not so much for the eclipse, we're out of the eclipse window now, but for integrating the eclipse energies. We've just had two very potent eclipses. I mean, all eclipses are supposed to be potent, aren't they? But the partial solar eclipse that was in Taurus gave us a great sense of promise. Not so much here's what you could have won, but here's what you can win. Whereas the Scorpio total lunar eclipse is more, and here's what you need to deal with while you're aiming for what you can win. Here's the crap you need to get out of the way. Here's the obstacles you have to overcome. Here's the things you have to let go of. Now, these eclipses, they're not just a 2-week length. As if you look at Dorotheus, he says for a solar eclipse, for each hour of the eclipse, you can assume that chart has power for a year. He's probably not phrased it like that, but it was a 4-hour long eclipse. This was really, really potent. This was very much awakening our minds or our souls or what have you into what we can achieve. Now, again, according to Dorotheus, an hour of a lunar eclipse is a month. I don't know how long the lunar eclipse lasted. I've looked it up a bit and I've forgotten already. I'm not sure I was even successful in finding how long it lasted. So comment down below. But as ever, I apologise that I have not been doing regular monthly readings. We've had some very strong astrology this year, and I have very much been, I'm not going to say been victim to it, because the majority of it has all been good. But I have been buffeted by it or kept busy by it, between day job and out of work commitments as well. It's not left me a huge amount of time for filming. And of course, quick plug, I am working on my course to present through later this year through Bloodstone Studios about angels and demons in the chart and how they can be used for magical purposes and for interpretive purposes as well. But anyway, there is a timestamp down below for if you want to just fast forward past the waffle. But before you do, please listen to this once, because I'm going to say, watch your sun, your moon, and your rising if you know them all. If you've only got time for one, watch your rising. But your sun will be of a great help considering we're talking about eclipses. Ask a question prior to the reading. You'll have enough warning when I stop waffling. But take a moment, think about all of the questions or issues that surround you at the moment, and ask a question. But be aware of all of those questions, because the cards will answer what they please and not necessarily what you or I think is the most important one. But focus on one of the questions because it gives energy to the process. And the more, energy in, energy out. So obviously all that good YouTube stuff, like, share, subscribe if you like it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need to say. Oh yes, the other thing that kept me away from the readings was studying my astrology and learning the astrology, which, still working on that. Got distracted by angels and demons, so still working on my basic astrology. But as you can see from my bi-weekly videos with David, I'm getting there. Another 6 years, I'll be fine. Can't think of anything else. Please do comment down below if you've already had an effect from these eclipses. And so I will bring the readings up. So here's your timestamp, and we'll shoot. So it's the same intro for all of them. Next time you watch this, fast forward through it and just go to the timestamp if you watch your more than one reading. All right, see you in a moment. Okay, Cancer, this eclipse happened in your 5th and 11th houses. The actual eclipse, the lunar eclipse, in your 5th. Now that's the house of joy, of fun, of children, of pleasurable lovemaking rather than, power dynamic stuff. This reading is quite an interesting one because we're starting with the opposite of the joy of the fifth house. We have decisions being led by anxiety with the Nine of Swords here. However, I like this Nine of Swords because it's the Oracle at Delphi. And it's the Oracle at Delphi pronouncing to, I've forgotten his name, Oedipus's father. And we all know how that ended up. But there's that sense that there is guidance around. Now, nines to me always represent some form of rebirth. And with it being paired with the King of Cups, and on the bottom of the decks, I should say, we have Justice and the Seven of Wands. So you've come to a decision. You've come to a decision where you are attempting to be fair, as fair as you can. You know if you're being fair or if you're being biased and, making false statements. You've come to a decision where you're trying to be fair, but you have nonetheless chosen the hill you're going to die on. You've chosen the point of view that you are wanting to guide your future actions and efforts. Now, I think that may well change. Then again, it might not. There's a transmutation coming. Spirit is bringing in the Death card. But interestingly, if you've watched the shuffle video that was there during the intro, loads of cards wanted to come out and they're spelled out all over the place. And I just went, stop it, keep the lot. So with what Spirit's bringing in, we have Death clarified by Four of Swords, Four of Pentacles, and Six of Pentacles. Something is being brought in that is allowing a wise allocation of resources that may well be some gift or benefit to you while you are put into a place of rest and healing for a little while you are driven to protect what is yours. But there's ways and means here. The reason that I say this is that I want to say that there's two distinct messages from the Oracle cards. Gemini also had Matariel, the Angel of Rain. In fact, your reading is just as dramatic as the Gemini one. We have Matariel, the Angel of Rain. The rain will come. There's nothing you can do about it. It will fall down from the sky and it will permeate everything, and there's not a lot that you can do about it. We have the Goetic Spirit Ose from the Fallen Angel Oracle deck. I always forget the name of it. To start off with. Now, here, the tagline on the card is danger. But that's not quite what what the card means. It means be careful, because yes, danger, but because a great opportunity is there waiting for you. And you can mess it up, basically. You can mess it up by acting too fast. Now, you have acted too fast in the past. If we look here, there was something that you were tending, something that you were putting the work into the past. But there's a potentiality that you've missed a few steps with the Seven of Pentacles. But to be honest, from this Seven of Pentacles clarifier, I'm getting far more the sense, and it's clarifying the Tower here, by the way. I get far more the sense of that you were nurturing, you did everything that you needed to, but nevertheless, still, if you think this Seven of Pentacles is an agricultural card, here sometimes it can show a barren harvest. Here we can show something that's growing quite nicely because it's receiving the love and attention it requires. Now, this is a card that says you have to take every step, because if you miss something out, then it will come back and bite you on the backside later. And it looks like that, to a point, that's what you believed happened, because the Tower happened despite all of your efforts. The Tower occurred, and then it's not that you missed anything out. I clarify, and anytime the Tower turns up, I clarify it with one of my Tower Takeover Tarot cards. And this came up with the Ace of Wands as the clarifier. So it's almost like some form of, and I'm putting it in inverted commas, disaster occurred. And I think maybe you acted too quickly, or were driven to action too quickly, and hence why your decision-making process at the moment may well be driven by anxiety, and it may well be... Think about what Oedipus's father did. The oracle said to Oedipus's father, your son will kill you. So Oedipus's father banished, and hopefully he tried to kill, but hopefully killed Oedipus, who grew up somewhere else, came back and killed him. But if Oedipus had taken the point of view of, I'm going to bring this child up as my own and love him, then the oracle's prophecy may not have come around. Or at least certainly wouldn't have come around in the form that it did. So I feel that there is messages galore around you, and that it's so easy to misinterpret them because of the way that you are feeling, and you're feeling okay with your interpretations. King of Cups here, it's okay. I'm happy to be making my decisions out of anxiety and what have you. And it's like, if you're feeling okay to make your decisions out of anxiety, then you're feeling okay to make your decisions full stop. They don't have to be out of anxiety. But there is a determination that you are continuing on the path that you're on, which I actually find quite admirable with this Three of Wands. But there is challenge. And if you are truly going to continue on the path that you have already decided on, that hill you're going to die on, then there's an element of less is more. Just let things, you've already put all the work in, and just because you've had this Tower moment occur does not mean everything has gone out of the window. It does mean that taking action right now can be counterproductive. There's a lot of passivity being asked for in these eclipse readings. Obviously, you're number 4, being the 4th sign. And there's a lot of, in I think all of the readings I've done so far, it's stand back, think for a moment. Now, it's not even think for a moment here. We have Keter, spirituality. So there's that divine will coming through. And one of the key words with this was also not the action, but the humility. Knowing that as much as you are the universe and you are God, God is still bigger than you, and the universe is still bigger than you, and you, nonetheless, you might be God, but you're also incarnate in a mortal form, and everything else is God as well, so allow God to express itself in any way, shape or form that it wishes, and not all of it will be under the control of your conscious mind. So there's that element of humility that is demanded by that Keter card, especially when paired with, from the Energy Oracle, we've got appreciation. So this woman's surrounded by brambles, but she is taking time to notice the beautiful flower in her hand. And behind her, as the sun comes out, other flowers are opening and blooming, and she can't even see them yet. But that's okay, because she's taking that moment to admire the flower in her hand, which is a beautiful thing. So again, it's that taking a moment and that humility of just going, isn't this beautiful? Because however you spin it on esoteric philosophy, when you're incarnating a physical body, you are not the rose that you are holding, even if you are. You know, there's that whole you are you and the rose is the rose sort of same another thing going on. And that moment of appreciation is what helps bring the blessings to you as the clouds recede and the sun starts shining here in the background. Taking action right now, being full-heartedly brave, isn't going to lead you to that better place, isn't going to lead you to your goal. Right now, you need to, Four of Pentacles, Four of Swords, remain silent, consolidate what you have. Be aware of the blessings and the foundations that you actually have. Because I feel with this Dragon's Lair card, there's an adventure coming. Absolutely. You know, go and grab your adventuring party from the tavern and strike on out, but not just yet. Because another thing with this Dragon's Lair card, you could call it a spider sense card. You know very well when there is danger in the air. And this is sounding far more negative than I was intending it to. There is danger in the air at the minute. There is. But the danger is you. It is acting too soon. It is acting too forcefully. Because for a while, this is really interesting, what you've got to work with, the moon clarified by the Five of Pentacles. So, illusions, distortions, illusions, reflected light, reflected in the way that you don't see the true source. When you're looking at the moon, you don't see the sun. But also that moon is cyclical. Here we've got a full moon. We've got two full moons, one in the air, one in the water, and the two raccoon spirits that are next to the bridge, one's looking at one, one's looking at the other, and neither of them know if they're looking at the right one or not. Coupled with that sense of poverty, of lack, of, in this particular card, move on here, from here, you're not wanted, as the dog barks at the couple and bids them away. But is the dog protecting the couple by saying, you don't want to go in here, this is where Hansel and Gretel's witch lives, and she's going to shove you in the oven. Go now. So there's that I feel like, especially with that Four of Pentacles being with what Spirit's bringing in, that somehow that sense of poverty, that sense of lack, that sense of not having the stable home base that you are acquiring is actually protecting you from something. So if you're going to make your decisions be run by anxiety, do the good anxious thing, and that's nothing. I don't advise being frozen with anxiety, but there is a point in this that let things play out. Let time pass. As I said, a storm is coming with Material. The rain is coming. You ain't going to stop it. And then we also have from the Enchanted Forest, Enchanted Map Oracle, the Metamorphosis card. There is a change coming, but it's not here yet. And as much as you look at it, there may be hints, but you are misinterpreting the point. You are not seeing the. You're not seeing the truth of it. So it might be that something that you are picking up on or intuiting or perceiving or seeing in the world, you're drawing one conclusion from it. That conclusion is erroneous right now. And that conclusion is helping you feel impoverished with no home base or not have the resources and not have the happiness, peace, shelter, quite possibly emotional, because we're talking about Cancer and we're talking about the moon here. So there's a lot of emotional energy all of this. But remember, what Spirit is bringing in is the Death card, transformation, Metamorphosis here, straight after it. Marbas, discovery. Now, let me read Marbas out. Where have I put the little book? Because Marbas is great at finding things out. So there is a wonderful opportunity here for you at the moment. You ain't going to see it yet. And I wouldn't be surprised if it is the opportunity that you want, the one that fits the hill that you're going to die on, the one that fits that decision that you have made, but you can't see it at the moment. And do you know what? Good. Because if you could, you'd rush blindly ahead and mess it all up. All things in their time here. So, Marbas. Marbas' totem beast is the lion, and in human form there is often radiance about his head that looks like a golden mane. He is related to the Greek god Hermes, because I think he's really good at medical stuff as well. And is a willing and helpful discoverer of secrets and the hidden wisdom of life. Yes, including the cause and cures of illnesses. He is a great tutor in the practical arts and crafts, and a helpful provider of disguises for the purpose of subterfuge. Subterfuge. The reason I like that subterfuge word is because, yes, you need to mask that anxiety. It is in and of itself an action that is too rash. And just keep plodding on, feel your intuition, because there is some truth coming in from other people. Wheel of Fortune, King of Swords. Now, this is the other people position of the reading, how they are influencing you, how you're interacting. There's something unexpected coming along, something that makes you go, what? But there's an element of truth, of law, of justice about it. Quite possibly from an older person that is telling you this. And the fact itself feels quite cold and hard and harsh. But I really like the feeling that these two cards together are bringing. It's almost like it can go absolutely any way, Wheel of Fortune, but it's going in a way that is closer to truth. It knocks you down a peg or two, hence the need for humility, but it's in your interest. Let's have a look. As I probably said, this is the Tarot of the Divine. I don't think I've said that on this video. And I'm still learning which god is which in the cards. So, Wheel of Fortune. Let's see where you are. Here you are. So it's a Nancy from Akan mythology, from Ghana. The Wheel of Fortune is endlessly turning, spun by a trickster god. What once was luck is now misfortune. What was hopeless is now joyous. So there's this sense of somebody else is coming in and going to turn everything on its head. These acts may seem random, but all fates are part of an interconnected web of repercussions. So again, you've acted possibly prematurely or possibly overeagerly in the past. And I think that what this reading is saying is don't do that again. Now is the time for stillness. Now is the time for humility. You may have made your decision and chosen the hill that you're going to die on. Fine. Shut up about it now. Whether you talk about it or not doesn't change that you've made that decision. That decision is there. It's sacrosanct. Subterfuge, just keep it to yourself and do your best not to listen to the anxiety. Because hopes and fears. So I got the devil card. You don't want to be constrained. You also don't want to be acting out on lower urges, and you don't want to be drawn into any form of deceit. Seven of Swords here. But you also you don't want to be taking things out of the situation just purely for protecting yourself, because you know that that is counterproductive in itself. So, being the devil card, I clarify that with my demon possessed tarot, and I got again the Tower and the Magician with Visago and Baphomet. So be very careful about your actions, and sitting back and watching is far better, because the actions bring on the Tower with Visago. And then we have the Magician as Baphomet. So with Baphomet, it's a hermaphroditic entity. And so there's that sense of balancing the masculine and the feminine, or the as above, so below, with the way it holds its hands. Be careful that your fears do not disrupt what promises to be a very good thing. But this very good thing is not yet on your doorstep. And you have to wait. And you have to make sure that you are ready in humility to receive this thing. Now, why am I saying that it's still there? Because some of these cards, I haven't read them in the most cheerful way. I criticised David on our lunation videos for being miserable and being very Capricorn. Just as a note, if you watch the lunation videos, David tends to always point out the pitfalls in the chart. And as I said to him one time, do you know, so why are you such a miserable git? He says, because it's a blessing that we're here. Anything else will be a challenge. But the very fact that we're here is a blessing. And that's beautiful. And I'm going to make sure he says it in every video from here on in. Now, why am I so very positive? Because the final card is the Ten of Wands, which you would assume is burden. But it also is a point of completion. It's a point of taking the harvest. If you think of the Ten of Wands in the Rider-Waite, it's taking the harvest back to the village, back to the house, back to make your jams and store the logs and salt the meats, or whatever it is that you need to do to preserve whatever it is that you've brought about. So yeah, it's hard work. It's a burden. This one's been a burden for a while. So the Ten of Wands, if you're that far from, or rather you're that near to salting the meats and making the jams and storing the logs, then nearly done. Nearly done. Nearly where you want to be. And this is a tree growing through a skull. A skull is a symbol of wisdom. The tree immediately makes me think of Yggdrasil. I'll have to have a look to see if it is Yggdrasil now that we come to mention it. So that's going to be right at the back of the book. Is it Yggdrasil? No, it's the Timbo tree from Paraguay, Grani legend. Blah, blah, blah. When Saguar's daughter went missing, he searched alone in vain. A timbo tree grew from his ear where he died, bearing fruits he laboured for, but he was unable to enjoy. That's curious, isn't it, considering what we've been talking about? Because, as we've seen here with the Seven of Pentacles, there's something that you have been labouring for. And now you maybe need to just relax and allow this death card, allow this metamorphosis to sweep over. Be grateful for how far you've come because you're so close. The reason that I say that is 4 cards fell out for the clarifying for this 10 of Wands, and I got the 4 of Cups. Listen to your guidance. Be satisfied as well. You know, the 4 of Cups can be a card of being dissatisfied but ignoring the guidance. But here we've got a magician or a shaman or a priest doing a ritual with the 4 cups representing the 4 elements, bringing everything around to his will. Now, if you think of the normal Wheel of Fortune card, the 4 elements are present there as well. This point, did we have a world card somewhere, or was that a previous reading? I think that was a previous reading. Then we've got Ace of Pentacles, new beginning. What's wrong with that? Ace of Pentacles is really always positive, unless you're being a bit too focused on the coin. But we've not really been talking about material goods here. We've been talking about emotions. The Lovers. So that there is either a choice to be made, or there is that union that is guided, that has an angel that watches over it. Or here we have the rainbow over it. So either that's the goodwill of Asgard or a leprechaun, you know. And the Hierophant, one of the marriage cards, but also one of spiritual structure. And it's also one where, if there is a step-by-step process, think of any particular religious ceremony and process, especially say something like confirmation. You don't just wake up on a Saturday and say, oh, I'm going to go get it confirmed tomorrow. It's a long period of study. If you think about magical, any form of mystical initiation, it is a period of study. It's a period of trial and error and practice, and one step at a time. And this is what all of this is saying, one step at a time. And the next step for you right now is, to put it bluntly, stay there, stay still, be grateful. And be humble, you know, have that element of humility. And being a Cancer rising myself, I'm listening to every word and I will replay this to myself because, yeah, humility is my strong point. But I really love these 4 cards at the end. This speaks to me of a well-built, structured, guided prosperity from the 10 of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles, happiness, you know, with the Ace of Pentacles and the Lovers, guided, Hierophant and 4 of Cups, stable, 4, but it's going to take time, Cancer. And on my side, message received and understood. There's not a lot much more. I've waffled for quite... Oh, my God, 26 minutes. Right, I'll shut up now. It's going to take time. The best action you can do right now is very little action at all. Okay, so if that means anything to you, Cancer, do comment down below. It's all quite personal. Just put a silly emoji thing. Everyone's saying, put the emojis, if this, that, and the other. I don't care. Put any emoji that you want, as long as it's, like, not rude. But yeah, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. And remember, everything that I have said here Tarot is there for guidance. It's not there to make decisions for you. What is more important with these YouTube readings is not what I have said, but your own personal reactions to what I have said. And they're the things that will guide you one way or another. All right. Cheers.